On my 2005 Honda Accord, the brake pads and rotors really needed to be replaced. But before I go on, don't forget to shoot a comment, maybe like it, and subscribe. Alright, let's get to it. It's 11:42 in the evening, and it is hot outside. My brake pads and rotors on this car needed to be replaced. And I mean, they were just worn out. These brake pads and rotors sat all through COVID and even before COVID. And this car was sitting at a shop, completely untouched, for maybe say a very long time. Students did service the car recently, and I have no issues with that. Only thing is, the same concept applies. I just didn't have to go through a whole bunch of extra process to clean it up and make it look pretty. I mean, safety is key, and you want to make sure that your brakes are functional. So, I've been in a car, quite a few cars actually, that have either had brakes gone out. I had a Jeep Cherokee that brakes went out. I also drove a car where my Lancer, believe it or not, the brakes went out. The brake line blew, out of the blue, on the highway. So I'm going at speed, and it just went out. And I mean, well, what can you do? Okay, let's just get into it.
Using a 19mm, I'm going to start with the wheel and tire. Removing the hubcap, removing the wheel and tire from the vehicle. Using a 12mm, I'm going to loosen the upper and lower caliper slide pin bolts. Using a flathead, I'm just going to compress that piston in ever so slightly, pulling out, and we can see that the caliper is free. Using a hand impact, I'm going to just remove these rotor screws. I'm going to try the top one. That top one came off really easy. Wonder what's wrong with that second one. Here's that first rotor screw. There we go. Just need a little assist. And those rotor screws are out. Lift up the caliper bracket and slide it out of the way. And I'm just going to slide that up out of the way like that. With the assist of the upper control arm, I'm going to use a bungee strap. Hook to this. Hook to the ear. And to the other ear of this brake caliper so it doesn't wreck this hose. Remove these brake pads. They don't look very good. Obviously this car's been sitting a while. There's the second one. And I can remove this bracket. Using a 17mm on the back side, I'm going to use a long ratchet and break it free. Just like so. Like that. Now these are loose. I can probably loosen them by hand. If not, I just move to a different ratchet, slightly smaller. Here's our bracket. I don't like to hit rotors unless I absolutely need to, but in this case I don't have to. There are two holes and they're threaded with, so I can use these 12mm bolts that I saved, tighten them down, and it will pop this rotor free without any effort. Just snug both of those down and then evenly apply pressure, and we see that the rotor is now free, just like that. No hitting required here. There we go. There's a rotor. A wire wheel. I'm going to clean the face of the rotor. Spray a little bit of brake clean, clean the hub off, apply a little bit of anti-seize to the center portion of the hub. That looks good. Part number for the rotor. We can see here that they are identical. You can probably tell by these fins, they're not pretty good. I'm gonna put it on backwards first. Spray a little bit of brake clean down on the outside. We're still going to have to go through braking procedure. Put it on the right direction. Spray it down with some brake clean. Let that sit for a moment. Line the rotor screw holes appropriately, so it'll be this way. Installing some new rotor screws. Give it one more drench of brake clean where I touched it. Now I'm going to service this bracket. I'm going to start by removing the clips first. Now we see that this has rust in it. I'm just going to take a brush and clean that out. This isn't the greatest brush in the world, but it shall do. And I'm just going to clean the surface of this as best as I can. That feels pretty smooth. Do the same for the other side. That looks pretty good. To seal it up a little bit, take a little bit of grease and lay it in here. Prevent it from rusting and having brake pads get stuck. Same for the top portion of this. Stick the new hardware on. This just clips right into place, like so. Like that. For these slide pins, I'm just going to pull it out of the top and the bottom. Wipe them down. I can inspect and clean this hole. I want to clean it out with some brake clean, but because this is my car, I'm just going to clean it off and reapply some grease because we just had this apart a month ago, so I know that everything's pretty much good. This was not a car that was done recently. You're going to want to clean out the hole. Then I'm just going to slide that back in. And yes, there's going to be grease that comes out. Check this side. Same thing. I'm going to clean it off. This with some brake grease. And I'm going to stick it back in. There we go. Oh yeah. Install this bracket onto the vehicle. Here's the upper. I'm going to snug them down. 79 foot-pounds. And take the new brake pads and set them in. We see that it moves, so we know that our job was good. Do the same for the outside. Cool. Grab the caliper, bring it down, slide it over, and it doesn't, so we got to compress this piston back in. Using a piston compressor, I'm just going to tighten it up, compress the piston back in. We feel it's going in smooth, no binding. So that means I can loosen it up. Our seal isn't leaking. Our seal is leaking. Oh no. So it means that we need a caliper on this side. That's unfortunate. I'm just going to take the caliper, the old one, kind of just flip it on over, slide it over the top, stick that mounting bolt in for the upper. Once I find it, okay, bring this up, take these metal clips, slide them in, slide the bracket down, like so. Take the bottom clip, stick it in, take my slide pin, slide it in. There we go. Now slide it in. 36 foot-pounds. Installing the wheel and tire. Reinstalling the hubcap. Does the lug nuts. Snug it down. Lower the car so the wheel touches the ground. 86 foot-pounds. All good. Always pump the brakes before you drive out. You saw how much travel I had? Now I don't have that much travel. There. Now it's good to get sent out.
What did you think? Hopefully those torque specs really helped you out when doing the brake pads and rotors on your 2005 Honda Accord. Now I will post the other side on another later date, but because of my business degree that I'm working on, it is just really chaotic. As summer comes around, I will be posting my videos that I worked all. Well, if you haven't already, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my channel content for more, and hey, when it comes to cars, have fun.